Alright, so you just relapsed. Yeah. Did you? Really? Honestly? Can no one else tell you're high? Nothing bad happened? You're about to go eat a sandwich real quick. You're coming down right now. It's probably about like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. You're still up. Yeah. You relapsed. Alright. Relapses aren't a bad thing. They're not. A relapse shows you're actually trying. Like, you're really trying. And I don't know when was the last time or how long you've been trying to get off of whatever drug you're on. Me, I'm just going to relate this to like meth, because that was my big drug that I was on. That was my hardest drug I was on. I mean, outside of like pills and shit. And those were terrible. But either way, so you just relapsed, and nobody can tell you're high, and I know the first thing that's probably going through your mind is, this time I got it. Like, I can control this. You're wrong. It's going to end back down the same road you just came from. Alright, for me, when I decided I wanted to get off of meth, and by the time I actually did get off of meth, and I still have relapses, or the time frame is outrageous. It took me 3 months to get off of meth, to the point where I would actually start saying, okay, now I'm just having relapses. 3 months. I legitimately wanted to stop doing methamphetamine, but I couldn't, because I didn't know how. Okay, this sounds fucked up, but our healthcare system is shit. And I applied for a bed at a rehabilitation center called Turning Leaf in West Plains, Missouri. Alright, by the time these motherfuckers call me back, I'm already clean. Like, well, I mean, moderately clean. Like, I'm still smoking weed at this point, like a fucking tank. My son used to actually call me a volcano. Yeah, bad. Not good. You don't want your 3-year-old son saying, hey, daddy, you're a volcano, and that's not cool. But, alright, so you relapsed, no one can tell, no one but yourself, and you've been paranoid this entire time, thinking people like, dude, stop, just quit. So when this last time I relapsed was like 2 months ago, okay? Me, I'm an addict. I will always be a fucking addict. Once you're an addict, you're an addict. There's no life and recovery living on that fucking government dope shit. There's no fucking... That doesn't exist. Being an addict, you just inherited a new full-time fucking job of keeping yourself under wraps. Congratulations. That's exactly what you did with your addiction. Alright, but nobody can tell. And relapses aren't a bad thing, man. Don't beat yourself up, or girl. Just don't beat yourself up. Stop comparing yourself to those around you, or people, or how you perceive those around you. Compare yourself to how you were yesterday, and right now, if you're like coming down and this is like 4 o'clock in the morning, you've got like what, until 12 o'clock later this afternoon. But compare yourself to yesterday's you. Are you better? Are you worse? The value of life, you have to remember, there's positive value, there's negative value. And it doesn't mean you're worth less, because obviously you're going in a negative direction because of your relapse. You can't, think you can control it now just because people around you can't tell. You got away with one. Kudos to you. Most addicts actually die because of the relapse, though. Because you think that your dose is still the same that it used to be. So you're going to do the same dose because that's what you think you need. Me, I realized this whenever I started relapsing, and I started cutting my doses down smaller every time I did. Literally, I had homies laugh at me. If you're going to relapse, drop your fucking dose. Not kidding. Not joking at all. If you're going to relapse, if it's about to happen, and you're about to do it, cut your fucking dose. Cut your shit down to what a newbie would have. I've had people that I used to roll with come up during times of a relapse, and they break out a fucking huge fucking line. Like one the size of a Belt Parkway, man. Just fucking massive. And I broke it down. Because I knew if I did that much, I would overamp my heart, I would fucking die. I wasn't the person I used to be. And now, you want to get off of it. You're probably still, coming up with excuses like, I'm waiting for this, or, oh God, my favorite one, this girl was waiting on her wish to send her dildo so she could have the big orgasm. That's what people do when they're on dope. And I'm just dumbfounded. You're waiting on getting to be better. That's bullshit. It needs to start now. It needs to start today. Okay? You need to start trying. This has become, like I just said, a full-time fucking job you inherited because you decided to do whatever. Sorry. Not sorry. Life sucks. This is just reality. You'll get over it. Okay, you relapsed. You're probably beating yourself up, getting all depressed, but like I said, just compare yourself to who you were yesterday and the day before, and tomorrow do the same. You don't have to go all ape shit like, oh, I'm fucking piece of shit, depressed, all of this. You don't gotta call up your grandmother and confess to the world you just relapsed. Because being honest, that's probably gonna hurt your situation. Your family is backing you, and every time you relapse, your family diminishes more and more. Like, some of my family won't even talk to me. They won't even pick up the phone because of who I used to be. I don't judge them for that. That's honest. Like, who the fuck would want me in their fucking life? I mean, I'm a good guy now. Like, I'm pulling my shit together now. I'm out in the middle of fucking Texas where there's nothing. But I'm doing it now. I'm good now. But they don't know me now. They knew me back then. Remember that. Just don't think you could control it, because you can't. Your addiction will eventually kill you. Kill all relationships you have around you. Me, I was a dangerous addict. Not dangerous as in the sense that I was violent, but because most addicts can't hold down a full-time job. Like, when I was doing meth, when I was doing drugs, people thought it was astounding that I had a full-time job. My dad was a working alcoholic. Drunk off his ass, he could work. He did it all the fucking time. Me, I one-upped him. That was me. I took it one step further. I became a functioning addict. So I had a full-time job to fund my addictions. That's how I was able to go 15 years of being addicted to one substance to the next, without anybody caring, without anybody noticing. I don't care if they noticed or not. One time I opened up the door and I didn't even know who was there, and I handed them a joint. That's how literally, like, my fucking circle was. How I knew who was coming, what type of person they were. I didn't even look up. And I just opened the door, handed him a blunt. He stepped in. We ended up doing our deal. He stepped out. That was it. But I knew anybody who was knocking on my door was a drug addict of some kind, whether it's marijuana. There's probably some hippie out there right now saying, oh, pot's not a drug. I have some really bad fucking news for you. If it alters your mind or your body in any way, shape, or form, that is considered a fucking drug. Okay? Caffeine is a drug. Nicotine is a drug. Those are probably the most basic forms of drugs you first encounter, is nicotine, caffeine, and alcohol. Well, that and sugar. Sugar is a big drug. So, you're wanting to get off of it. You might be relapsing. You might be still in the stage of waiting. Stop waiting. This happens today. Like, the second you put down this phone, shit's about to suck because you're about to fall straight on your face, because you probably have a lot of people around you that support you and they prosper from your drug addiction in some form. You're about to have to say goodbye. You're about to learn what it means to stand on your feet. The reason why getting off of drugs, I believe, one of the reasons is that it's so hard is because you have built this network around you of other drug users, of people who, because you ever heard the term birds of a feather flock together? That's true. Rich people probably, they don't hang out with people because they're more like a hawk, yeah, like a bird that's just flying up in the sky, because they don't congregate with other people. It's more of like a chicken aspect. Like if you ever watch chickens, they'll assimilate with each other and they'll stay around each other. Eagles and hawks and other predator birds that fly high don't. You'll only generally see them during mating times. And that's because they're doing their own thing. They're getting their own shit together. They're conquering life. They don't need other people around them to distract them. And if you have a bad mindset about wealth, get over it immediately, because any person, my favorite lyrics in one of my songs are, one of the songs I listen to is by Everclear, the band Everclear. If you don't know who they are, go look them up, come back, finish watching this video, then I'll get 2 views out of you, and on top of that, I mean, they're just a real good band. And one of his things says, if you think money is the root of all evil, then you have never experienced a welfare Christmas. You have never been poor. You've never lived homeless. Mankind, people only move to accumulate materials and energy and to reproduce. But that's a different subject. Okay, so you're about to have to say goodbye to your friends, possibly your family members, and this is gonna suck, but druggies, I'm just gonna straight out call it druggies, go together, they collaborate together, because they have one vital thing important. At the end of the day, their thought process is, how am I gonna get fucked up? And if you're willing to support them, help them do that, help them achieve that, then they're gonna probably hang around you. And so a lot of your friends, if you're a druggie right now, a lot of your friends are probably druggies, and you're just gonna, you can either look at it this way. A, you can say goodbye now, and you can go live a better life. Or B, you can end up dead with them in a couple of years. When you're gonna have to say goodbye, you might outlive them, and they might die. And you're gonna have to say goodbye then in a couple of years, because it's gonna fucking happen. If a heroin addict is 30 years old, that is a goddamn statistic anomaly that just doesn't happen. If a meth addict is, let's say 50 years old. I've seen some 50 years old that look like they're 110. They ain't got much time on them left. And the one I met, who was like 50, spent two times in federal penitentiary. Like, she's got 2 exes. That bitch go down one more time, she gone. She isn't gonna be in there. I have a really good friend, okay, from back in high school. Her name was Rachel. I loved this girl. You know, like kids love. But she died about 2 years ago. She was actually about a year younger than me. Mind you, I didn't hit meth until I was like 23. And at that point in time, all my friends previously, back when I was in high school, and I started smoking weed, and either way. So they were doing it way before I was, and they were just coming out of prison. They were just coming out of jail. When I was 23, they were just coming out. A lot of them still went back to the same lifestyle, just keep going in and out. Most of them end up dead. Or in the pen, where they end up dead. Because there's fucking drugs in the pen. Some black dude's gonna hoop some shit and walk in there and fucking sell your kids drugs. If they're in the penitentiary and you're like, oh, thank God, maybe Tommy's drug addiction's gonna stop. No. Probably fucking not. He's probably gonna end up having to go to bat for his fucking race and end up doing more time, because that motherfucker ended up doing drugs in there. Sorry, but it's true. So you've got to pick yourself up. Say goodbye to a lot of fucking friends. Say goodbye to a lot of family. This is your first step to recovery. Good luck on the growing pains, man. So, see you guys tomorrow. Later.